Alright guys, about to go hard. I got my 300 cut before bed workout. So I'm going to start off. I'm just going to show you guys what I'm going to be doing, because pretty much going to be trying to film the whole way. It's more or less an endurance session. Just kind of, I'm not going to be going full speed. I'm going to be trying to focus on form and posture. So first 50 cuts I'm just going to be doing straight vertical. Next set it's going to be 50 downward diagonal cuts, and I'm going to count them on a 1-2 count. So it's going to be, you know, downward right and then downward left cut, and I'm going to count that as one, but in reality it's 100 cuts. So the next set is going to be another 1-2 count, but they're going to be horizontal. I'm going to do 50 of them, so that's another 100. And then I'm going to do 50 one-handed thrusts on each hand. And so if I can make it through it, it's actually 350 cuts. But I'm going to go with it. I got Musashi Book of 5 rings on. I got my power bracelets. Ready to rock and roll.
Cut the enemies down as they advance, crushing them in the direction from which they attack. Whatever you do, you must drive the enemy together, as if tying a line of fish. And when they are seen to be piled up, cut them down strongly without giving them room to move. Musashi is held to be the inventor of the two-sword style. He writes that the use of two swords is for when there are many enemies. But people practice a style of fencing with a sword in each hand to give practical advantage in fencing. Musashi used the words two swords when meaning to use all one's resources in combat. He never used two swords when up against a skilled swordsman. The advantage when coming to blows. You can know how to win through strategy with the long sword, but it cannot be clearly explained in writing. You must practice diligently in order to understand how to win. Oral tradition, the true way of strategy, is revealed in the long sword. One cut. You can win with certainty with the spirit of one cut. It is difficult to attain this if you do not learn strategy well. If you train well in this way, strategy will come from your heart, and you will be able to win at will. You must train diligently. Direct communication. The spirit of direct communication is how the true way of the Nito Ichi school is received and handed down. Oral tradition, teach your body's strategy. Recorded in the above book is an outline of Ichi school sword fighting. To learn how to win with the long sword in strategy, first learn the 5 approaches and the 5 attitudes, and absorb the way of the long sword naturally in your body. You must understand spirit and timing, handle the long sword naturally, and move body and legs in harmony with your spirit. Whether beating one man or 2, you will then know values in strategy. Study the contents of this book, taking one item at a time. And through fighting with
move into the 1-2 count diagonals.
To know the principle of the way. Deliberately, with a patient spirit, absorb the virtue of all this. From time to time, raising your hand in combat. Maintain the spirit whenever you cross swords with an enemy. Step by step, walk the 1,000-mile road. Study strategy over the years and achieve the spirit of the warrior. Today is victory over yourself of yesterday. Tomorrow is your victory over lesser men. Next, in order to be more skillful men, train according to this book, not allowing your heart to be swayed along a sidetrack. Even if you kill an enemy, if it is not based on what you have learned, it is not the true way. The 2nd year of Shoho, the 12th day of the 5th month, 1645, signed, Shinen Musashi. The Fire Book. In this, the fire book of the Nito Ichi School of Strategy, I describe fighting as fire. In the first place, people think narrowly about the benefit of
25.
strategy. By using only their fingertips, they only know the benefit of 3 of the 5 inches of the wrist. They let a contest be decided, as with the folding fan, merely by the span of their forearms. They specialize in the small matter of dexterity, learning such trifles as hand and leg movements with the bamboo practice sword. In my strategy, the training for killing enemies is by way of many contests. Fighting for survival, discovering the meaning of life and death, learning the way of the sword, judging the strength of attacks, and understanding the way of the edge and ridge of the sword. You cannot practice small techniques, particularly when full armor is worn. My way of strategy is the sure method to win when fighting for your life 1 man against 5 or 10. There is nothing wrong with the principle 1 man can beat 10, so 1,000 men can beat 10,000.
40, I think, maybe 39. I'll do 40. No, 40.
Of course, you cannot assemble 1,000 or 10,000 men for everyday training, but you can become a master of strategy by training alone with a sword, so that you can understand the enemy's stratagems, his strength and resources, and come to appreciate how to apply strategy
45.
to beat 10,000 enemies. Any man who wants to master the essence of my strategy must research diligently, training morning and evening. Thus can he polish his skill, become free from
49.
self, and realize extraordinary ability.
50.
He will come to possess
So,
miraculous power.
We got the 1-2 count.
Is the practical result.
50 horizontal cuts. I'm just going to tilt this back
Depending on
really quick so you can see
examine your environment.
how my legs are.
Stand in the sun. That is,
Maybe a little bit.
with the sun behind you.
So
If the situation does not
I'm just going to
allow
go back
this,
into
you
like a
must
kind of
stand
a
with the
half
sun
horse
on your
stance.
right side.
Back,
In buildings,
forth.
you must stand with
And
the
especially
entrance
for this,
behind you
because
or to your right.
of all
Make
the extra
sure that
weight,
your rear is unobstructed.
really I just want
That
to try
there
to
is
make it
free
nice,
space in your
clean,
left,
plain,
your right side being
and
occupied
practice
with
my
your sword attitude.
opening my body
At night,
and
if
getting
the
into that
enemy can be
transition.
seen, keep
So
the
I'll
fire
start the count
behind you
here.
and the
1.
entrance to your right, and otherwise take up your attitude as above. You must look down on the enemy and take up your attitude on slightly higher places.
5.
For example, the camisa, or spiritual center in a house, is thought of as a high place. When the fight comes, always endeavor to chase the enemy around to your left side. Chase him toward awkward places and try to keep him with his back to awkward
10.
places. When the enemy gets into an inconvenient position, do not let him look around, but conscientiously chase him around and pin him down. In houses, chase the enemy into the thresholds, lintels, doors, verandas,
15.
pillars, and so on. Again, not letting him see his situation. Always chase the enemy into bad footholds, obstacles at the side, and so on, using the virtues of the place to establish predominant positions
20.
from which to fight. You must research and train diligently in this. The 3 methods to forestall the enemy. A great swordsman, or any
25.
otherwise, will have mastered the ability to forestall the enemy. The great swordsman is always before his environment. This does not mean speed. You cannot beat a good swordsman because he subconsciously sees the origin of every real action.
30.
It is the practiced ability to sum up a changing situation instantly. The first is to forestall him by attacking. This is
35.
called ken no sen, to set him up. Another method is to forestall him as he attacks. This is called tai no sen, to wait for the initiative. The other method is when you and the enemy attack together.
40.
This is called tai no sen, to accompany him and forestall him. There are no methods of taking the lead other than these 3. Because you can win quickly by taking the lead. It is one of the
45.
most important things in strategy. There are several things involved in taking the lead. You must make the best of the situation. See through the enemy's
49.
strength so that you grasp his
50.
strategy
Well,
and defeat him. It
not
is
gonna lie, I'm
impossible to
feeling
live
it,
without this
but
detail.
just going to finish this out.
The
50
first,
one-handed thrusts.
ken no
And since
sen.
I'm practicing for the
When you
Gatetsu,
decide to attack, keep calm and dash
I'm going to practice holding at the end of the suka.
Or you
Real
can
extra weight.
seemingly strongly, but with a reserved spirit, forestalling him with the reserve.
And
Alternatively,
by the end of this workout,
strongest spirit is possible. And when
guarantee,
you reach the enemy, move with your feet
if you try to go hard for this last part,
unsettling him,
you're going to find yourself
overwhelming him sharply.
blown out.
All with
So,
your spirit calm,
you know, who knows, maybe
feeling of constantly
you guys are
crushing the
in a
enemy.
better spot than I am
To last.
with this kind of stuff,
The
but
spirit is to win in the depths of the enemy.
it starts to really burn your forearms. It's good.
No sin.
So,
The second.
I haven't been counting, I'm going to say it's 10.
When the enemy attacks, remain undisturbed, but feign weakness. As the enemy reaches you, suddenly move away, indicating that you intend to jump aside. Then dash in, attacking strongly as soon as you see the enemy relax.
It says 15. I think I'm actually going to do 25 of these because I can barely even grip the sword. I don't know if you guys see that. I'm like limp wristed. Might choke up on the bat, you know what I'm saying?
Is the tie no sin principle. The third, tie no sin. When the enemy makes a quick
17,
attack, you must attack
18,
strongly and calmly. Aim for his weak point as he draws near.
20. 20 on each hand. Shit, tired.
Or, if the enemy attacks calmly, you must observe his movement, and with your body rather floating, join in with his movement as he draws near. Move quickly, and cut him strongly. This is Tai no Sin.
I don't think you guys can get a really good view of the tip of the sword as I'm finishing the thrust, but I actually use it kind of as a measure for how much more I need to do, because I want to be able to thrust like so quick. I just kind of imagine it being that attack you're using to end whatever kind of conflict is happening. So, you know, in thrusting, you leave a lot of open parts, and so I would say to even think about considering doing it safely. Some training like this is probably what you want to try. Because even right now, like even if I was fresh, thrusting just feels a little bit weird when you're first starting out. And even as you start to practice, you'll notice it's a lot harder to control the tip and the weight of the sword in a quick motion. So that's kind of what I hope to improve by doing this. And it's kind of just a little bit different muscle group. So the top of the forearm and deltoid. So I think that was a little bit over 20, but just kind of giving it a little talk. So I'm looking like shit, but it's a good workout.